Hello everyone, it's Sherman Gittens, and I'm going to do a quick RCL circuit question. This comes from Trench, and this is section 6.3, question number 2. And we're going to have to find the current, not the charge, in the circuit. So it changes it up a little bit. Nice thing is our E of t is equal to 0. And so we have our givens. R is 2 ohms, L is 0.05 henries, C is 0.01 Faradays, and our initial conditions right here are charge being 2 coulombs at time equals 0, and the current is going to be negative 2 amperes at time equals 0. So let's start off by writing out what this problem is going to look like in general. So I'll have cube double prime. I use capitals. Some people use lowercase. I like capitals. Hope it's not a big issue, but so then Q regular prime. Excuse the messiness of my writing. I'm writing with a mouse instead of a pen, so it's not going to look as pretty, but hopefully you get the general idea. And then right here, Q equals E of t, capital E of t. And so let's start filling this in. This is pretty easy to fill in right now. So we have our 0.05 Q double prime, and then our 20 Q prime, and then this is going to end up being, well, we're just going to write it out, and it will just work itself through. So 0.01 Q, and that all equals 0. So the important thing to remember with this one, since we have to find the current, is that current, and again, I'm going to go a little off base of here. I have capital I over here, but I use lowercase I for current, equals Q prime. So that's important to remember as we go through this problem. So first of all, I'm just going to divide this whole thing by 0.05 because I want to get that first term by itself. So I want to get this Q double prime by itself, and that's plus, and this comes out to be 40 Q prime, and then this ends up being a rather large number, a little 2,000 Q, still equals 0. How about that? Okay, so next we're going to simplify this so we can actually get our solutions here. So I like using R instead of M, so R squared plus 40R plus 2,000. Again, this all equals 0. Okay, so next we're going to have to complete the square because this doesn't really factor pretty. So let's see, we got R squared plus 40R, leave some space, equals negative 2,000. And so when we divide this by 2 and then square it, we're going to get 400. So plus 400. And then plus 400 on this side as well, because you've got to keep it nice and even. And we see that this is R plus 20. That's all squared, perfect square right here. And then this equals negative 1, 6, 0, 0. Okay. And if we take R plus 20, It means we have to take the square root of this. And what we come up with here is a nice little 40i. And then so r, that's plus or minus 40i, sorry about that, equals negative 20 plus or minus 40i. So nice thing now is this is our alpha, this is our beta, and we're going to construct our general solution here for the charge. Q equals C1 E to the alpha T, so that's negative 20T, and then cosine beta T, so 40T plus C2 E to the alpha T sine beta T. So it's 40T right here. So this is just the beginning pretty much right now. So we next we should take the derivative of this right away. So we just know that our information that when we put in the initial conditions is going to be all set for us, and we're going to be able to just break it down. So take the derivative of Q. We're going to get quite a lot of numbers here. So negative 20. I'm just going to e to the negative 20t. Actually, why don't we just? I'm going to rewrite Q, and that's going to make it a lot easier to what you can get here. So Q actually ends up being e to the negative 20t C1 cosine 40t plus C2 sine 40t. And what this is going to allow us to do is make our derivative, finding our derivative is a lot cleaner looking and easier. So first derivative, we're going to take, let's see here, negative 20e to the negative 20t. And that's just times our regular stuff in there. Sine 40. Okay, and then we're going to make that plus e to the negative 20t. And then we have to factor the inside. I'm going to bring it down here as I go, so please don't get lost with that. So we're going to have 40. Oh, it's actually negative 40. Gotta plan out a little bit better for that. So it's negative 40 C1 sine of 40 T. bring it down here, continue it, and that's plus 40 C2 cosine 40t. Okay, like I said, it looks a lot cleaner. Now we can throw our initial conditions back in there. So if we look back up here, Q at time equals 0 is 2 coulombs. So we'll throw that in here. And then, so this is 2 equals, and then 0 for this, we make that 1. So this is going to be 1 times this whole thing. And here, 0, sine of 0 is 0, and cosine of 0 is 1. So this is just C1. So this is C1 is equal to 2. Hey, that was pretty easy. Now our second initial condition. So we don't have Q, but we have I. And so we know that I is equal to the first derivative of Q. So we can just put, okay, so next we're going to have to use this I in place of Q prime. So that's nice. So we know that this is negative 2. And our time is equal to 0. So we know this is right here, this is 1, so this is negative 20. And then let's see what its times here. So we know sine of 0 is 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, so this is C1. And then this is going to just be 1 right here. So plus 1 times, let's see here, this is going to be 0. And this is going to be 1 over here, but this is 40 C2. Okay. So now, let's see here, we know what C1 is, so it's going to be 2. So this is negative 2 equals negative 40 plus 40 C2. And now we're going to bring this 40 over here, so it's going to be turned to positive, so we have 38 equals 40 C2. And then we divide by 40 on both sides, and that's going to give us 38 over 40 equals C2. And that will become, let's see here, find a common factor. It's going to be 19 over 20. So we have that, and now, whoa, what we're going to do with that is plug it right back into our Q prime to find I. Okay, so now let's plug it in for I. So I'm just going to call it I over here, and then we're going to put in our C1 and C2. So we're going to come over here, we're going to put negative 20 out here in front. E to the negative 20t. And then that C1 was 2, so we're going to put 2 cosine 40t plus 19 over 20 sine 40t. Okay, close that off. And I'm just going to write it all out, and then we'll go back through and we'll have our number is a little more solid. So 420t. Like again, we're just gonna wrap it around, so please don't be alarmed by it. So I'm just gonna multiply this real quick. So this is gonna be negative 80t. I mean negative 80. No t. Negative 80 sine 40 t. Okay, we're continuing down here. And this right here is going to be 38 over 20 cosine 40t. Actually, that doesn't get closed off over here. I put one too many parentheses over here, so I'm just going to rewrite that just so I don't get screwed up. So this just closes off right there, and then this closes off with that. So, look at this mess. It's beautiful. So, we're almost there. So we have I equals. So I'm just going to distribute this in here, this negative 20, so that we can have e to the negative 20, and we can just combine these simply and not have to worry about a whole mess of, what goes where. So I'm just going to put that in there. Actually, let's make this e to the negative 20t, and this is negative 40. 40t, and then so this is just going to be negative 19 sine 40t, and then plus what we got up here. So I'm just going to rewrite this real quick. And then back down here. Over 20. Sorry, I mixed these up here. I'm just going to put this back to 19 over 20. For some reason, I got that mixed up. Looking back at it. So this is 19 over 20, not 38 over 20. Little mix match there. Sorry about that. Okay. So actually, I didn't. Forgot that I added that term, so it is 38 over 20. Sorry about that again. Jeez. Sometimes these problems get so big. Okay, we're back on track. So we go through all this and we combine it all. It actually comes out really nice, and I'm just going to leave it in this kind of form because we put it back and forth, and we find that it's actually this is just 38. So now it comes out nice. I was looking back at it and it was saying it wasn't going to be nice to me. So this comes out to be a very nice problem and ends up being negative e to the negative 20t to cosine 40t plus 118 sine 40t. So where I messed up over here with this 38 is I forgot that I was multiplying it by 40 over here, which basically take this term right out here. And if it took this term out here, I would just multiply this by 2. So get our 38 right here. So as you're going through plugging the values from our initial conditions in, and you find the C1, C2. So remember, C2 is going to be 38 over 40. I reduced it. I didn't really need to reduce it. I see that now. Um, but it does come out to be 38 for that value right there, and 38 for this value right here. So all in all, it looks really good. Just trying to make sure I did okay everywhere else. It looks like it did work out well. This turns out to be 19 because we brought this 20 in here. And yeah, our values, this is our final answer. So if you have any questions or corrections, sorry that it got a little convoluted, a little crazy in there. But ultimately, just remember, find your values. Remember what you're looking for. For this question, it's important to remember that you're not looking for Q, you're looking for I. And that's letting us know that, current is Q. Current is I, and charge is Q. So we just got to remember what we're looking for so that when we go through, we actually find the right answer. Thank you very much.